Are you ready, kids? Get your parents' permission, check your mailbox, and grab your shopping cart. It's time for the Adventures in Collecting podcast.
I'm Erik.
And I'm Dave. Welcome to Adventures in Collecting, where we talk toy news, culture, and hauls,
along with our journeys as collectors.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
Hi.
We are Groot. No, we are tired.
Yeah.
It's been New York Comic Con. New York Comic Con happened. We were there.
I feel like we were just doing this a week ago.
Something like that. Yeah, right on the heels of New York Toy Fair, we were back at the Javits Center for New York Comic Con. And much like we've done for Comic-Cons past, toy events past, we have some fun interviews, multiple. Yeah, we have fun interviews for you guys to hear.
We have fun.
One is a bunch of familiar. Well, actually, I think to you guys, they should all be familiar voices. We have the Marvel Legends team, Dan, Ryan.
You should be listening to familiar faces, all of you.
Dan, Ryan, and Dwight, and we're going to be talking all things Giant Man, HasLab with them shortly, and then after that, or I don't know what order they're going to be in. Actually, we'll figure that out momentarily. But you're also going to hear from Russ, aka Shartimus Prime, as we talk about street humans. But before we get to all of that, we're going to talk a little bit about just our Comic-Con experience, some things that we saw that we really liked. We could even talk about some things that maybe we didn't like, because I can bring up a couple of things that I think Dave might expound upon, his not so favorite parts of Comic-Con. Maybe we'll see. But the other thing too, just kind of, we mentioned Toy Fair briefly. During Comic-Con, there was actually some Toy Fair news.
Yeah.
So if you're following us on social, which Dave, how do they go about following us on the socials?
You go to @AIC_podcast on Instagram and TikTok. Smash those follows, hit those likes, subscribe. I don't know if you can subscribe to TikTok. I've never been on it. And then go to YouTube and hit that subscribe button and hit the bell to find out when new videos are coming, and help the algorithm. Download and share and tell everyone.
And actually, while we're talking about subscribing to things, you can actually subscribe to us now on Instagram. It's 99 cents a month. And once we have subscribers, right now we have no subscribers because we've never advertised that we can do subscriptions. Once we have subscribers, we'll do like behind the scenes stuff. So if you pay 99 cents a month, you get to see just kind of like a peek behind the curtain maybe. And then we'll see as things develop. If we get more subscribers, we'll do more fun stuff for subscribers. But in the meantime, you'll get access to an exclusive channel on Instagram. And then you'll also get some behind the scenes goodies. But back to that New York Toy Fair news. New York Toy Fair is staying in old New York. The news was that Toy Fair was taking a year off, so there'd be no Toy Fair in 2024, and then in 2025 it would be returning to New York for like one last hurrah at the Javits Center, which it's still doing in March of 2025. So it's like March 1st, I believe. And then the plan was for 2026, 2027, and 2028, they would be doing events in February in New Orleans. I think it's been made kind of obvious that the industry was not happy with that decision in terms of just kind of nothing against the wonderful Big Easy, the city that never sleeps, the heart of jazz.
New York's the city that never sleeps. I guess both cities don't sleep.
Yeah, I especially during certain times of the month, especially if you're down there for Mardi Gras, right?
certain times of the year then.
Yeah, certain times of the year. Yeah.
Um,
Um,
Mardi Gras is not monthly.
no, Mardi Gras. I almost called it Carnival. I think that's like Brazil. But yeah. So it's a little bit difficult to travel to. The weather can be a little more. Not that it's not unpredictable in New York, but the weather can be a little more violent. One would say in that part of the country. And again, and just in terms of travel, it's difficult for the international folks to fly into very easily. Whereas, of course, New York City is a hub. So the New Orleans experiment has come to a very, very abrupt end. And we are looking at a return to the old ways, as it were, in 2026. New York Toy Fair will be back in New York, and it will be February 15th, from my understanding. So, if you want to read more about it, you can go to thetoybook.com and read the article all about it. They have the scoop, but yeah. So long story short, New York Toy Fair staying in New York, going back to February. So we're not going to have this weirdness of having two very massive toy centric events within within 2 weeks of each other. Yeah,
I feel like many bodies were not ready for that.
no, and I mean you could honestly So first of all, general reaction to New York Comic Con. Dave, you did not get to go last year. You were on the bench with a broken leg, with a broken freaking leg. So I did I did 3 days of Comic Con last year by my lonesome. And boy, it was like I would say 30 to 40% more empty last year than it was this year. It was crowded. Thank goodness I did not have to have to do it this year alone. I probably would have quit uh, by Friday. Um, yeah, it was packed. It was back to being the way that kind of like I guess I remember Comic Con being.
I feel like it was
going
my
way back.
first one in like almost a decade.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, also too, this was only your second time. Toy Fair doesn't take up as much of the Javits Center as Comic Con does. Um, it's a little more enclosed, I guess you could say. So you got to experience for the first time the new wing of the Javits Center and all of that kind of expanded area,
yeah.
which was, I'm sure, a lot of fun for you.
Once I knew that it was there, it was fine, but I didn't know it existed.
But yeah, so you could tell though, just by talking to some of the folks that that we saw literally 2 weeks ago, they were tired. I know some of the companies actually, it was more cost efficient for them to just put their employees up in New York in the entire interim instead of having to do the flights back and forth. And they were able to get, I guess, better rates on hotels, for a little bit of a longer stay. So some of them were on like day 20 of being in New York, which is just, it's crazy to think about it. So I think it put a lot of people in a bind, made a lot of companies make decisions that maybe they didn't want to make, just in terms of like not being able to come out for both events, not being able to in terms of their large. If you've never been to something like Comic-Con, you could check out again on our social media. That should be up at this point, but we took a lot of footage from around the show floor just to kind of give
A lot
people
of
an
photos,
idea.
a lot of videos.
Um,
I've done a half marathon and I've never been this tired.
So yeah, but there's a lot of things that these companies build incredibly large booths, especially the folks at like at Bondi. They had 10 booths this year. They had like a 1-to-1 scale cat bus at this that you could take photos with and walk through, and then they had these larger than life inflatable or assembled um diorama pieces of like, they had like a giant Luffy, they had a giant Goku, Orange Piccolo, uh, a giant monster from Naruto, Godzilla. There's so many crazy things, and they need to be able to store those things in places and ship them carefully. So putting them back to back like that it's kind of rough. But all in all, it was a fun show. Let's talk about some of the things that we really enjoyed. Dave, do you want to start with something?
I can start. We saw my new favorite TV show live in person. With I think I watched the first episode of the season. We basically saw the whole episode. Just kind of cut up into pieces. Just if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, no, I haven't watched yet.
But and then we saw
what show is that?
Kaiju battles and all that stuff. It is Ultraman Blazar.
Blazar. That was my impersonation of the narrator.
Yeah. Yeah, all the voice cast have there's voice casts that you know, and all the voices are just fantastic. And it's fun. I watched the first episode before the airing of this, which was the day after we saw the panel, and we definitely saw the whole episode just kind of chopped up in pieces.
Which,
so
by the way,
more of it. The episodes are half hour.
They're all available on YouTube. Yeah.
And I've been kind of looking into it. A lot of the old Ultraman is on through Shout Factory, so you can catch up on all of that through Pluto or other Shout Factory forums. I think their website has a thing too where you can watch stuff. But that was pretty great. After that panel was a lot of fun. It was very cool. I told Erik after it was over, I was like, everything is wrestling. Ultraman dropped a power bomb. It was pretty solid.
There was a sit out power bomb, which I wasn't expecting to see Ultraman do a sit out power bomb on a kaiju. Yeah, that was really cool. It reminds me it almost reminded me of well, I mean, if you've ever seen the show, or you've seen Super Sentai, or you've seen Kamen Rider, or you've seen Power Rangers,
Fast Rider, any of them. Yeah.
You kind of know that guy in a suit versus another guy in a suit sort of thing. They're fighting around a model of a city. We found out from our friends at Bandai, who were very involved in the in the panel, as it's Bandai has the master license, of course, for Ultraman. That some of those suits were screen used. I mean, they're the ones that they actually use in the show. Mm-hmm. So you're effectively seeing the choreography and how they film these fight sequences just without the model city around them. So seeing how well or in some cases how encumbered some of the suits are, and the fact that they're able to do kind of what they do is really cool. And it made me kind of think of they have those touring stunt shows, right? The Marvel stunt show that was touring a few years ago, or going back to the days of Six Flags Great Adventure, the Batman stunt show, that kind of stuff.
Or Mortal Kombat Live.
Yeah, jeez. This is very akin to watching something like that, just with better choreography, because I mean, this is the stuff that they're doing on on the TV show.
And there's commercials for Japanese commercials in the show for Ultraman conventions and stuff like that, which
that's awesome.
Look rad, and it looks like they kind of expound on what we saw at the panel.
Yeah,
I should say. I'm tired. I may use the wrong words today for sentences.
I would love to see something like that live, a full thing.
I may get the wrong adjectives.
That's fine. We'll make it work, Dave. We'll make it work. Yeah, but I also enjoyed that panel. Something else that I really enjoyed. We got invited to two very really, really cool experiences at Comic-Con that were both off-site. So on Friday evening, we got invited to the Goosebumps launch party, the new Disney Plus series, which I have not had a chance to watch yet. I'm very excited. I love Goosebumps, with Justin Long, and there's a bunch of other people in it too. we got invited to the launch party for that. Was really just a really cool experience. It was at the Chelsea factory, very very close by to the Javits Center. They did a really really great job on kind of the theming throughout. We got to see the screen used Slappy prop. They had some some scares built into the experience. They had one of which got me really well, and also just great food. And overall, we got to hear from the president of Disney Plus, or excuse me, president of Disney Television. It was a really cool kind of experience to be part of something, be invited, to attend something that was so meaningful to me and kind of my development as both a reader and just that really kind of scratched that horror itch for me. And then we got invited to so this year, November 3rd is Godzilla Day every year. And it's the 69th anniversary of the original Godzilla. And of course, not Shin Godzilla. Godzilla -1 is coming to theaters in December. Kind of looks like a reboot from Toho. Toho invited us out to a special screening at the Japan Society in New York City of one of their archival grade prints of the 1954 Godzilla. It was in glorious 4x3 grain, grainy cigarette burns, all the good stuff on one of those original prints. Really, really cool experience. Got to meet, people from the Japan Society, people from Toho directly. Of course, again, shouts to our friends at Bandai who were, heavily involved in the event as well. They had the Tamashii Nations New York exclusive SH Monster Arts Godzilla on display there. They had everyone got to go home with some Godzilla themed nano blocks. Just a really really cool experience.
Really cool poster for.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The -1 poster
for the new movie.
Yeah, they made a one sheet poster or one sheet size poster specifically for those who were in attendance. And it's a gorgeous like watercolor looking art print. Really really well done. And I mean the building that we were in, has significance as they shared. They presidents, Nobel Prize winners, and kings of monsters, have all kind of shared the stage there.
Just renowned actors throughout history. They've had performances there. It's just a phenomenal building. I'm disappointed that it was only my first time having been there, but what a venue. And I definitely want to see more programming that they're going to be having.
Yeah, and shouts to Peter who heads up the kind of the film programming there. We'll definitely post on our socials when they have new stuff coming. As we've mentioned countless times on the show, we both absolutely love film and cinema, and getting a chance to see a print. I think we were both talking about this after the screening. I think that's the oldest print we've probably ever seen. And we've gone out of our way to see some some crazy 35 millimeter and other types of prints over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, seeing that such an iconic film, literally like the seminal film in Toho's library, getting to see an original print of it, from Toho's archive was it was wild. So those were two massive highlights for me. So let's get a little bit just into some of the toy stuff, and we'll make this part quick. Before I know everyone wants to hear the interviews. That's why you're here. Aside from just kind of the experiential things at Comic-Con, Dave, was there any toy thing, any collectible thing specifically that you saw that really kind of jumped out at you?
The mothership was cool. And seeing the two things that I saw that were kind of, you have to see them to really get into to really get to kind of take in what they are. And this is probably going to be a great segue into one of our segments. Of course, the Cobra Mothership, the Super 7 crowdfunded project that's going on there with them now. There's a bit of a Hasbro tie-in with of course, the license, but also the O-ring figures. And I believe if you go to YouTube, you can see that panel.
The whole panel.
The whole panel. You could see previous guests. You could see Emily from Hasbro, and of course Brian from Super 7. And then Giant Man, which is another one of...
Before you get into Giant Man, because you are absolutely right, we are going to use that as a segue to the Marvel team. There's just one thing I wanted to say about the Mothership. We've been seeing a lot of... First of all, thank you to everybody who has watched already the panel video on YouTube. Really appreciate it. It was something that I noticed when we kind of set up that no one was set up to record, and everyone needs to see, especially G.I. Joe fans. I know, how important this content is to the community. So we wanted to make sure we got it out there. But I am seeing
especially that 3 3/4 G.I. Joe community.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of comments about the O-ring figures. Now, while they said in the video on the panel that there are no future plans at the moment for O-ring figures. And again, this is pure just like adventures in collecting perspective. We have no additional knowledge, no access to anything, that we're not being transparent about.
This is the pure reading between the lines of statements that were publicly made.
Exactly. If you are a 3 3/4 O-ring collector, and you want to see additional O-ring figures in the future, if this project doesn't fund, that probably doesn't look good for your prospects in the future.
The future is in your hands.
Quite literally. Yeah. If you want those O-ring figures and the community is loud enough and this project funds, I think kind of, again, reading between the lines, this is the kind of litmus test of how hungry is the O-ring community. Now, do not take this as us again telling you like if you want O-ring, you have to back this. That's not what this is at all. But this is just kind of additional context, right? Like there's
this is the case for anything. We always talk about you vote with your wallet, right? Like,
yes.
If you want a film series to continue, if you want to show, a sports team, whether or not you appreciate what they're doing, if you want to show a toy company that you appreciate what they're doing, or what have you. Doesn't always have to be like the negative. I'm going to vote with my wallet and not buy any of this. You can also vote with your wallet in a positive way and say, like, this is something that I want to support and want to see more of. This is, there are numerous crowdfunded projects that are out there that you can do that with, and that, hey, it's going to say like, hey, maybe, by this succeeding, we want more of this, or by it not succeeding, we don't want more of this. But ultimately, if there is more of it, it's because there was a bunch of people that wanted it. If it doesn't, it's because there were a bunch of people that didn't want it. But ultimately, this, the decision for this to be a thing that goes on is up to the community.
Yeah, and I think we can leave it at that. I think that's a perfect way to kind of put a bow on it. But go ahead, check out the panel. Not right now. Listen to this episode first, then go do it. But check out the G.I. Joe panel. With that in mind, the Mothership is what, $495. It's got a bunch of unlockable tiers. It needs 4,000 backers in order
Got an
to.
early bird.
It has an early bird. Check out the panel. It'll give you all the information. And now we can move over to Giant Man, Dave.
Yeah, and so that was I'll give this too. The it's through December 11th for the mothership.
Super7.com.
Super7.com.
You'll see it in the banner there. So to kind of start to kind of echo what Dave was going to say about Giant Man, because I think we were both kind of on the same page here. This Giant Man is a figure that you need to see in person, and I know it's a terrible thing to say, with only being like 11. Well, I think it's less than 2 weeks left in that campaign, and there's still quite a bit of ways to go.
It's one of those things, and I think.
Well, I mean, they're going to hear it right now.
Yeah.
They're going to hear this whole thing. So, why don't we cut to past us from the Saturday of New York Comic Con, from day 3 of Comic Con, New York Comic Con.
Erik and Dave, take it away.
Hello, everybody. We are here at New York Comic Con with Giant Man, who's currently behind Ryan, right back there, and we are, of course, with the Marvel Legends team. So we have Ryan, we have Dwight, we have Dan.
What up, what up? Yo, yo. Hey, guys.
Hello.
How's everybody doing? How's your con so far?
It's good. It's good. Half over, maybe. We just did a stage activation talking Nerf, which I know you guys are super interested to talk about.
Love Nerf.
Everything Nerf.
Next Strike Mechasaurs.
Next
Get it
Strike
right.
Mechasaurs.
Come on.
Available at Amazon. And we've got some Giant Man, whatever. It's cool.
No, whatever.
No.
This is why we're here, right? We're here for Giant Man. Look at this guy. So tell us what we're looking at here. What's this configuration of Giant Man?
So we actually just updated this in case anyone was by earlier today, but we have a slightly different stand that will allow for a new pose. So Dwight put him in a nice kind of action pose, and I brought a bunch of Ultrons from the office. So we have kind of the Avengers versus the Ultron army here a little bit.
Things only Ryan can say. I brought a bunch of Ultrons from the office.
The office, that's right.
Only Ryan could do that, honestly.
And when I bring stuff, I bring them with all the accessories and all the pieces, and I'm very organized, because can't lose anything.
No. I mean, the fact that they're not on cards sitting in there is surprising.
Yeah, I left the trading cards at the office, brought the figures with me.
Well, it's great to finally see him in person. We were fortunate enough to have the case off before, yesterday actually for Friday the 13th, so we got to see the head swap process. It's been a while now since we've spoken, about the launch of this. So what are some of the kind of new things, the new kind of like changes, new additions that have been made since the campaign has launched?
I think the two biggest things that were updates throughout the campaign were the eyes. When we found out that we were going to be able to swap the plates the way we do, it allowed us to also swap the eyes, which allowed us to add that addition of different looks. So he's going to be looking straight, he'll be looking down, he'll be looking to the side, and you can intermix any of those eyes with any of the standard heads or the zombie head if that one gets activated as well. Along with that, the one thing that we've done very recently, I need you to get louder, but that's not in the case, is we've adjusted the back of his neck. When I've been playing with the gray model for the last couple of weeks, I realized that when he's in his lower crouching poses, which you can do with this figure, which is awesome, he can't look up enough. So we were making a notch in the back of his neck, kind of like the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man, so that Giant Man will be able to tilt his head up for a little bit more, if I want to look up at Galactus, or if I want to be crouching and looking more forward, he'll be able to do that better now.
Yeah, that's really cool. And we're seeing now, too, the white and the black antenna on him.
Yeah. That was something that we were looking at early, and then the fans actually brought it back to our attention as well. And we were like, yeah, that's something that we want to get in there. So we were able to, run some numbers and get that in there and make sure that we were able to give you guys as many options as possible. Because if we're asking you guys to come to the table and drop $200, which is, we think, a deal when you consider like Galactus was $400, but with that, we still know, let's give you guys as much fun as you guys can have out of the box. And the extra eyes, the extra antenna, the swappable plates, we thought was a really fun way to give you the opportunity to pose him out however you'd want on your shelf, or if you want to actually get on the floor and play with him, you can do a lot more awesome stuff with him.
I think that speaks to the team's focus on making the best Giant Man experience possible, whether it's the eyes, the antenna, the articulation. You know, a lot of discussion has been about other figures, but we're really focusing on a $200 Ultimate Giant Man experience, and we've had some other interviews, you know, we've shared where it's like, yeah, those other figures, guys, those can come out on their own at another time. It's either you buy them now or you buy them later, and so in this case it'll be later, but that allows us to keep it at $200 and 10,000 minimum backers.
And you can even make the argument, right? Like, if this thing is popular enough and people get it, it shows the emphasis that you need to put on some of those additional characters to support this one.
That's right, and if this one is successful, you know, we could go back and do some more classic comic Avengers characters that aren't even in the pipeline right now, because there are some that are in the works. We're very eager to show them once Giant Man, you know, is successful, we hope. Yeah.
So what you guys don't realize is this interview is actually broadcasting over the loudspeakers. They're cheering for Ryan.
Excited.
They're really, really excited for Giant Man. Yeah,
This is
that's
the Giant
it.
Man reception.
So speaking of large reactions, right? We have Giant Man behind us, but a lot of comparisons have been made to the previous Giant Man, the Toy Biz one. Thought this might be a good opportunity because, you know, something else you might have from the office is something you could show us to really...
This is what Dwight brought. Yeah, just to really show the sense of size and scale. I'll get out of the way. Dwight, hop in here, you know, but...
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, Toy Biz made this amazing Giant Man figure part of their Walmart wave, which was like 10 figures, I think, to complete, which was a lot, and it was very hard for people to find. And when we were looking at the new one, we wanted to look back at the past because it's always good to learn from your history. And we kind of it's a really good figure. So how are we going to update this new one to be, better fitted for the current collection? And when we now have 26-inch Sentinels and 32-inch Galacti, we needed to make sure to have a Giant Man that paid homage and respect to the origins and those classic costumes, but was more in scale with those other giant baddies that you now have. So this is a nice comparison. I don't actually know exactly how tall the Toy Biz one is. I want to think it's around 13 inches or so. Yeah. But it's a quality piece from the past, and if that's what you have in your collection, it's a wonderful. Cool thing about Giant Man is with him being a growing character, you can display him at many different heights. So if you're lucky enough to have this figure, good on you, but if you don't, you have the opportunity now to jump into this new campaign and add a brand new one for everybody to add to the collection.
In fact, a giant.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, more giant.
Because you can see here in the case, and I don't know if you can, but we'll take a picture later, you see Hulk compared to Giant Man, as opposed to Hulk, who is a very large character. You have Giant Man, who is towering over Hulk.
Yeah. And, as this campaign starts to kind of come towards that end date, what's one thing from each of you guys? What's one thing that you want to make sure people realize about this Giant Man? Like, either your favorite part, the thing that you think the most attention got put into, the thing that makes you the happiest about this figure?
For me, the new addition of the eyes, being the clear eyes so that we're not painting highlights anymore on this size figure. They're actually going to be a clear plastic eye with deco on the backside, so it'll catch natural highlights to be able to look like it looks like it's alive, which is something we've never been able to accomplish or deliver on the normal 6-inch scale. So the eyes and the swapping ability for them is probably my favorite piece of this campaign.
Clear eyes. Please say what
blind
meld. Say it.
Is it blind hearts or what is that? Full hearts. Full hearts.
Can't lose, baby.
Oh my God, I knew it, but all right. For me, it's to be honest with you, it's probably that $199 price point. I think for us, we know everybody's going through a lot.
Such a marketer.
We know a lot of people are going through a lot right now, and it was really important to us to have that goal of trying to get a HasLab at $199, and we think it's a very fair and awesome, not more than fair, like this. If this doesn't get backed, I'm literally gonna cry. Maybe I might actually cry. So go for it.
Remember, tears, not tears.
Oh, true.
Yeah, we were originally going to make it a no-tier campaign, but then we kind of went back and added some extra heads. But yeah, I mean, I'll also lean into the marketing a little bit, but it's like, guys, those other figures, again, I want to say this multiple times to every interview. Yes, we know Wasp. Yes, we know a regular sized, Hank in this type of costume are obvious kind of requirements for that classic Avengers team, and we also agree. It just will not be part of this HasLab, but they are, very likely to come out. You just don't have to get them now, and you don't have to pay.
Very likely.
$250 now. Dan, and we all know the times are tough. There's a lot of awesome collector product out there. We're coming off of the Dragonfly and the Ghost. Like, yeah, we get it. Those are big price tags, and so if you can just pay $200 for Giant Man now and get those other ones in the future, isn't that a good thing?
It's like, I'll take a hamburger today.
Yeah.
I'll pay you tomorrow for a hamburger today. That's the.
Very likely we'll see a Wasp character at some point.
There's a phrase. It's like, read between the lines.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too that you just don't kind of get, and this is something that, me being the first time seeing it in person, like, you just don't kind of understand it until it's here. Yeah, you want to touch it. You get to see the fingers. Like yesterday, we got to see Dwight posing the fingers to have them be gnarled for the zombie. You get to see really the shading on it and everything. Like the light coming from underneath really shows kind of what you can do with this figure once you have it.
The thing that jumped out to me immediately with this, and I gotta say, like, kudos to you guys. When you get up close to this thing, and I've seen a ton of pictures of this, so far. I've seen, like, even the pictures that are posted on Hasbro Pulse. This detail does not come across in any of them. The suit looks like the mesh material, like that, like your gym shorts are made out of. Like, you could see the little, like, holes and the little, like, patterning to it.
Detailing in the suspenders.
Yeah, like, there is so much on this thing that, like, when you see it in person, you're gonna.
The gloves, like the edges of there's so much to appreciate about it.
The seam, like, around the thumb part of the glove to, like, like the way, like, a real glove would be reinforced.
The stitching at the edge, like, there's so much.
Yeah, between the sculpting and shouts to other friend of the pod, Tony, for the paint job on this thing, because it looks amazing.
Tony.
But the attention to detail is just awesome. And Dwight, we recently spoke about kind of the engineering aspect of it. How you did the harness and everything. I don't know what else there is to say about this, guys. If you are a Marvel Legends collector and you have a comic Avengers team, you need Giant Man.
The other thing you can't see too is, like, as we're standing here talking about it, there are people like, what are they talking? Oh.
Yeah, so wait, actually, before we go, tell us about that. What's been the reaction here? Like the in-person reaction? How have people been responding to Giant Man?
I mean, it's been in the 99 percentile of loving what they're seeing. The only thing that I've heard, and I don't know about these gentlemen, the only thing that I've heard is some people are saying, "Oh, well, I wish it was a slightly different size," and that's fine. He's a growable character. He could be anywhere from 13 inches to 24 inches to 6 feet tall. I mean, there is no right or wrong answer here, people. This is just the scale that we thought worked best with our other giant baddies. But everybody, like literally everybody, has loved seeing this thing in person. And a lot of the things that you just remarked upon are what they've been saying. It's like, and I think that's the problem with the world we live in right now. We live so much in our phones and our laptops. It's really hard to understand and appreciate how big and impressive and how much love went into something of this size until you can actually see it, which is, I don't have a fix for it yet, but I'm definitely going to be spending some months thinking about how we go about doing these things as we go forward, because, being able to see this thing has made such, a positive, mark on everybody that's come by. I just, we need to figure out a way to have that as an opportunity more often, because looking at this on your phone, it's like, oh, that's great, it's an action figure. It's like it's the same scale as every other figure I look at, but then coming to the show, it's not. Yeah.
The other comment that I've heard is they don't want to back it until it's fully funded. And I just really want to clarify that, like, we will not charge your credit card if you back it early. Like, it doesn't charge until after it is fully funded. And just really wanted to clarify that, because I've met a couple of people who are like, oh, we thought it's going to be charged immediately after I back it. And just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, I mean, I procrastinate too, a lot of things, but there's really no benefit in doing that here. And we're kind of trying to rise above the temptation to change the campaign and throw things in at the last second, because that's kind of not really sustainable in the long term. And that's why we were very upfront with the tiers from the beginning. We said this is we fully revealed everything. Dwight and team are making these minor additions that just make what you've seen better. But in terms of what the campaign entails, we think at $200, it's a good value for you.
If you guys want to back this thing, back this thing. Well, let me rephrase that. If you like the work that the team does, back the thing now, because I'm getting older and I don't know how much my heart can take the stress of these campaigns, because I love the product. I hate these campaigns because they are so stressful when the team pours their love and soul into these things, and people say, I'll back it if it funds, because I want it, but it's just like, it just means I'm going to be stressing more. And at this age, look at this gray, people. This is your fault. All this gray is you not backing these things, stressing me out, man. So, if you guys want me gone, shorter than later, then keep doing it. You're doing a great job. But, if you guys want some more of this stuff, and I want to give you guys more of this stuff, then, make my life a little bit easier. If you have the funds. If you don't have the funds, I get it. It's not for everybody.
Guys, I annoy him every day. Don't worry. I shoot Nerf darts at him all the time now.
He
apparently,
almost assassinated me earlier on the stage. Yeah.
Oh man, we forgot to talk about Nerf.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next
time.
Okay.
Maybe next time. Guys, back Giant Man. Ready? Let's all on three. 1, 2, 3. Back Giant Man.
When do we have to back it till?
October 23rd, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So at least just set an alarm, set a reminder for yourself on the 23rd just to go take another look at the webpage, at minimum, and then that FOMO.
Let's not keep it that. Let's not do it.
We just were talking. Come on.
Good Lord, man.
Be kind. It was hard.
Good Lord, man.
Okay.
And what webpage is that?
That's HasbroPulse.com. Thank you, Erik. Go to HasbroPulse.com.
Hey, that's what we're here to do. We're here to help. So
Thank you, Dave. Sorry, I meant Dave.
it's all right. It's all staying in. Staying
That's
in.
happened my entire life.
We're doing it live. We're doing it live.
From now on, it'll be Derek.
We combined.
Yeah.
That's it.
Combined, we're sentient.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys. A traditional mom-and-pop toy store in Little Falls, New Jersey, Chubsy Wubsy Toys brings you the best new toys from the brands you love without the hassle of pounding the pavement searching for them at larger retail stores. Visit them in person at their brand new home at 101 Newark Pompton Turnpike, Suite 1 in Little Falls, New Jersey, or online at chubsywubsy.com. That's CHUBZYWUBZZY.com. And tell them Adventures in Collecting sent you.
Starting on October 10th, 2023 through the end of the month, CGC is celebrating the greatest grade with the greatest deals, including $10 modern CGC comics pressing, $10 off grading for CGC video games and CGC home video, $10 off the official CGC Guide to Grading Comics hardcover book, and fantastic social giveaways. Whether you're passionate about comic books, TCGs, sports cards, video games, or home video, CGC 1010 Day is for you. Get started today at cgcgrading.com. That's cgcgrading.com.
Face it, shaker bottles suck. Your shakes always come out clumpy and they're a pain to clean.
You're right, Dave. That's why I decided to ditch my shaker bottle for good and get myself a BlendJet 2 portable blender. It makes perfectly blended shakes in just 20 seconds.
BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease.
BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house. It lasts for over 15 blends and recharges quickly via USB-C.
Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go.
With an array of colors, patterns, or even Disney-inspired designs to choose from, show off your personality while you're blending up something delicious on the go.
What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today.
And be sure to use the promo code AICPOD12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code AICPOD12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today to get the best deal ever.
And now, back to the show.
See, I said you would hear everything that that we were about to say. So that way we didn't repeat ourselves. But I think everything that was said there was what needed to be said, right?
Yeah, it's, and what we said beforehand when speaking of the mothership and of this project, Giant Man, and anything that's out there. It's funny. This is not just a Comic-Con episode, but a very crowdfunded episode.
It is.
So, and there's a lot of these projects out there, and it's all on. It's ultimately like, is this for you?
Mm-hmm.
And if it is, and you can afford it, cool. If it's not, and you can't, also cool. But it's also that, if it doesn't continue, if there's no more WWE stages, or if there's no more Marvel Legends big vehicles, or what have you, that's why.
So we talked about two toys, the Giant Man and the Mothership. Before we get into our second and last interview of this Comic-Con episode, one thing that I wanted to shout out that like really kind of sings to me from a toy perspective. One of my favorite things that NECA is doing right now are those Remco inspired glow in the dark Universal monsters. They're one of which was a New York Comic-Con exclusive, Phantom of the Opera. Was very happy to be able to come home with that. But they also showed off for the first time one of the coolest play sets from that kind of era of toys is the Monsterizer, and it's coming to that line, and it's just like what a way to put an exclamation point on an homage line. They still have to get Dracula out there. He was on display. Not sure if he's going to be, a Target or, the Target exclusive or another exclusive down the line somewhere. But, they had him on display. He's ready to rip. So I'm very excited to add him to the collection too. And then of course the Monsterizer. We can't talk about NECA without talking about our buddy Blaine.
Shout out to Blaine.
Another, their other Comic-Con exclusive was
another thing you can watch on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a little exclusive walkthrough, exclusive tour walkthrough with Blaine. This was a big event for him. The first Ultimate figure that he got to oversee, and design, creative direct, is the New York Comic-Con exclusive Ghostface. Very much so a nod, a wink and a nod to the Scream 6 film that happened in New York. The timing was just perfect. Having it be a New York themed exclusive in New York around Halloween was just chef's kiss. There were so many people walking around in Ghostface costumes, coming up to their booth, which was very heavily influenced again by that exclusive and the design and everything. But the big thing is that it sold out before the end of the convention. They
gone by mid-Saturday.
Yeah, they could not keep the thing in stock to the point where they had stock allotted for each day, and they had to keep releasing more and more and more in order just to keep up with the volume of people that were coming through the booth. And by Saturday, like Dave said, midday, I think it was actually even earlier, they were gone. So huge congrats to Blaine. It's an awesome figure.
It's really cool.
once I get a chance to kind of decompress from everything, I'm going to open mine. I'm going to save the packaging because he signed it for me, which is awesome. But I'm going to open it up, take a bunch of pictures. It looks gorgeous. It's, if you're familiar with the Ghostface figure the first time around, you kind of know what to expect. But it's got some really unique accessories in there. So just wanted to give a quick shout to past guest, friend of the pod, Blaine. Congratulations, man. I know we told you it in person, but we're happy to shout it from the rooftops. It's so awesome to see his kind of development and career, and I think things only go up for him from here. So
yeah.
But talking about a previous guest, talking about a brand new guest, and pivoting back to the concept of crowdfunds, Dave, we got a chance to talk to a new friend.
Yeah, we met Russ, who you may know as Shartimus Prime, from his toy reviews, and Russ and the great David Vonner are working together for a new property, a new creation.
Yeah, and that's gonna kick us to the interview with Russ and
Street Humans.
Yeah, for Street Humans, and you're gonna hear this interview, and that's gonna be the end of the show for us. So enjoy our chat with Russ, and again, make sure you check out our social media at AIC_podcast, where we've got tons of videos, other interviews that we did at New York Comic Con. I promise there's going to be a video up. I'm really hoping I can get it edited by the time this airs, but fingers crossed, of just kind of an overall Comic-Con experience, a bunch of things that we saw. But there
was a lot of other cool stuff too, like we saw the John Carpenter table for Storm King, got to talk to the Sacred Bones people,
V-Friends,
of
course, Bondi, our chat with Justin, that should be up by the time this airs. Head over to AIC_podcast for all of the New York Comic Con things, and also the interviews that you're about to hear. There may also be video versions of these interviews.
I would say there probably will be at some point.
Yeah, there might be. So, let's throw it to, again, past us and Shartimus Prime.
We are here with Russ, who you might know better, of course, as Shartimus Prime.
Shartimus Prime. Hey, how's it going? How are you guys?
So we're here at New York Comic Con, live in person, to talk about Street Humans, man. So tell us a little bit about this line.
I wanted to make a toy line that I've always wanted to see, which is civilians. Like I've always felt that there's been a hole in the collection, so I conceived the idea based off of kind of fulfilling this need to have more civilians in my displays. So these are 1/12 scale figures that are meant for collectors that are really into photography and posability, and there's a lot of interchangeability to go along with the figures. So there's that aspect of it, and then on top of that, there's a whole storyline of the Street Humans actually being shape-shifting aliens from another planet, and there's a whole story of their conflict that's kind of moved over to Earth, and that's been a lot of fun too. And interest has been shown in that as well as the figures, which makes me really happy to see.
So it's kind of a twofold thing, right? Like you said, you have these gaps that you're addressing, but also you're getting to tell a new story, a new IP out of this.
Yeah.
What were some of the considerations that you made when you were designing the kind of street human element of it before we get into the kind of the monster alien design?
Right. Well, right from the beginning, I wanted it to have. I wanted this to have different ethnicities being expressed in the line right away. So we have an African American figure, we have a Latino figure, we have a Asian figure, and we have a Caucasian figure. Two of those are behind stretch goals. We have to kind of pace ourselves on how we have these figures roll out. Everything costs money, so we have to have everything So we started with the African American and the Latino figure first. So that's where and then our designer Vinny from Brazil with Love, he flushed out, the pant designs and the hairstyles and that stuff with all the figures. I wanted to have alternate heads for displaying options, and it's very much a troop building centered line where you can really fill things out and have different aesthetics for these civilians.
Now, you mentioned the stretch goals, so tell us about the Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, the campaign is, so our funding goal is $120,000. We're about 25% of the way there. We have quite a few days left. We have more than 2 weeks left. So if you haven't back it now. And the stretch goals, our first stretch goal is at 126,500, which is really close to the 120 initial funding goal. And with that first stretch goal, the main character of the series, his name is Alago, and he is going to, now the figure itself initially comes with 3 heads. So you have like a regular neutral human head, an angry human head, and then we've now included the alien head to come along with it, with the basic figure offering at no extra cost. So that's going to be part of that basic figure, which, by the way, was by popular demand. A lot of people asked for that, and that makes me so freaking happy, because that was one of my favorite parts of working on this thing, because these alien heads are designed in a way where it's supposed to have like the silhouette of an animal that you're familiar with, but when you actually look at it, it's very different. So while having a creative blast, putting them together, like, I feel like we could pass on that creative fun to the consumer. Just for fun, I put the Bat alien head, Lago alien head on a Han Solo figure just to see how it would look, and it looks awesome. It could fit into Star Wars if you want to do that with those. But within the lore itself, it's very cool to have, and people. So anyway, yeah, we have that stretch goal, and then the stretch goal for Alago means that he's going to come with a hoodie accessory and then interchangeable arms. So I have a grayscale prototype with me right over here, and a feature that I really wanted to incorporate. Well, there's 4 different removable part features. So you have the removable hands, and then you have the removable head, right? That's kind of industry standard now, but what I wanted to bring to the table was something different over here, and the basic figures can pop off right at the waist. So you can pop them off at the waist. If you want the African American figure in your display to have the beige pants instead of the camo pants, you can make that happen if you want. If we get everything unlocked, you could switch to your desire. So I really like that. This also allows for a little bit more articulation on the figure, so it adds another joint down there at the waist. So we have 3 joints right there. But the other feature with the stretch goals that's really awesome is if you take the head off, I don't have them with me right now, but if you take the head off and then you can pop the arms off, and then essentially what you'll do is you take the sleeve piece for the hoodie, and then we have different sleeved sweater arms for the stretch goal for Alago, and then you could port in those sleeves, to match the hoodie. If you want to use the flesh arms, you can get that aesthetic as well. So you can have cut off. I mostly do the cut off shirt thing, not today, but it's
a little chilly here in New York.
Yeah. It's a little bit colder in California. Not too bad though. But I love New York, by the way. That's not a jab. That's not a jab. But it's actually a really nice day out here. But you can have that look if you want cut off sleeves. So if you have 3 figures and you have those deluxe accessory packs, you can set that up now. And then from then on, each of the stretch goals are basically kind of following the same pattern of having a basic figure. So the next stretch goal after that is at, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's my own Kickstarter, but $130K. You get the deluxe pack for Eon. So that will come with, and on top of the hoodie, you have the hoodie down, hoodie up feature, and then you have 2 more human heads. a mohawk head, and then a different hairstyle head. And that's the theme for each of the deluxe accessory packs for these figures. So basically the initial offering, 2 starter pack figures, and then you have the Alago accessory pack, and then we have the Eon accessory pack, which comes with 2 more heads, the mohawk, and then a different hairstyle, and then he'll come with the jersey instead, and then different arms for that jersey. Then the next stretch goal would be for Edel. He's the Asian character, and he'll have the same accessories. He'll come with an alien head. He'll come with the 2 human heads, the angry and neutral bald head. And then the deluxe pack for him is, and then actually, I'm sorry, after him is the Erus character, and that's the Caucasian one with the 2 heads, 2 sets of hands. I'm sorry, 3 heads, 2 sets of hands, because we've added that alien head in there now. And then after that, we have the deluxe pack for Edel, and then the deluxe pack for Erus.
So with these figures, kind of going back to the purpose, right, and the usefulness of them, what's like the one selling point about these that you want to get out there? Like what's the thing that to you that is most important that you think resonates most with collectors, toy photographers?
To be honest with you, if you haven't held it in hand, it's hard to say how fun this figure is. It's if you're an action figure collector that loves posability and that loves displaying, that fun factor is just through the roof with this figure. It's just so fun to pose around. I've been having a great time with it, and I think really the fun factor of this thing is through the roof. And that's like one thing that I feel like, while I'm pretty new to making toys, I've been talking about fun figures for 15 years on YouTube. I'm not going to I have an idea of what's a fun figure and what's not a fun figure. So I feel confident that, once this gets into people's hands, and so far everybody that's held onto this figure has had a great time with it. So it's an incredibly fun figure to have, and I think there's just endless possibilities with that fun factor if we hit these goals. And we also have other stretch goal ideas for like motorcycle helmet heads or bandanas, beanies, all kinds of different accessories that we can incorporate with this. So the fun factor is very strong with these.
Now, you've been working with renowned designer David Vonner for this project. What's it been like working with him?
It punk rock to jazz is kind of like he is the maestro, and he's been very helpful with this, and there's a lot of insight in the industry that I wouldn't have been able to just obtain from my personal experiences. A lot of design pointers. He's really helped a lot in countless ways. So I'm not giving away all his secrets or anything, but like he really has a great knack for knowing how to make the figure fun, and he's helped us a lot with the designs also. For some of these alien heads, especially the Eon and the Edel heads. So getting his creative juices in the mix is kind of hard to like hold back from geeking out a little bit, because it's like, that is a cool idea. Oh yeah, we should do that. It's like, that's why you're Dave Vonner and I'm not, so he's really helped us, a whole bunch, and it's really helped with the development through and through.
Now, you said each figure comes with 2 human heads, and you went with a neutral and an angry expression. Mm-hmm. Were there any kind of other expressions, like maybe a scared expression or something else that maybe you guys were considering?
I've had several ideas for me. I would like to like a really pained expression, like an open mouth, like getting walloped in the face really hard would be really cool. But I also wanted to have a different silhouette. So especially if people end up deciding to use them as background characters, I think it would be more beneficial for the collector to have maybe a different hairstyle head than one that has the same bald head but a different face. Maybe it may not come through so much in the background. So I really want a lot of variety in the collection. I want to add some more stuff that could make things look more unique.
Now, if successful, and we hope it is, so we'll say when it's successful. Yeah. do you see kind of more accessory packs being the future as opposed to, or kind of in conjunction with adding more characters?
Yeah, we already have plans for accessory packs for additional stretch goals beyond the deluxe packs. So being able to have that available and seeing where things go as far as popularity wise, I'm definitely keeping my ear out there as far as what people want to see. Like thus adding the alien heads in there. It's like I really want to keep a close eye on it. So it's gonna also depend on see where, people what people like more so and where we can go with it. But definitely deluxe, definitely more accessory packs is on the horizon for this, for sure.
So you mentioned it. I mean, you've been reviewing toys. We've been watching your videos since long before we've been doing this. Now you're kind of stepping on the other side of it for the first time.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you've learned about just kind of like the design and production and that whole kind of process?
Oh God, it takes so long. You have to be so patient. This is not a one-man show. I don't know what it's like for other people that design these, but like for me, it's very much been like playing in a band. Like it's like there's a lot of, and you have to be receptive towards other people's ideas. So having that mindset, being open-minded, putting your ego aside, having to do what's best. It's kind of, I'm a musician, part-time musician. As a drummer, I could always do the cool new fill I've been practicing that week, or I could do what's best for the song, right? The guy gets hired again when he plays what's best for the song. I'm trying to do what's best for the song with this, and that's what it is listening to other people's ideas and working around what other people will think will be best. So there's that part of it, and then the other side of it is that there's like this whole other manufacturer community that I've kind of just been discovering recently, and everybody's been very, very kind and very nice and welcoming to me, and very honest about everything. So it's kind of like jumping into this other artist community, and like we're like, oh wow, this is very different, and this is really interesting. So and very cool. Like everyone's been very kind to me and helpful. So I really appreciate it a lot. Been learning a lot. Yeah.
So has the process made you go back, like the countless toys you've reviewed over the years? Like, do you think about them a little bit differently now? Like, do you go back and think like, oh, wow, this kind of is like this? Because now I know, making it, this kind of goes into the decision. Like, has it made you kind of reshape how you think about that?
Yes, but more with new stuff. Like hearing Dwight talk about the HasLab Giant Man, and then him talking about having all these different samples to look at and picking and choosing, and I'm like, I'm familiar with this. Okay. Like I'm kind of seeing parallels in what they're doing in some of the stuff I did. Now it's not the same, of course, right? Much smaller situation compared to Hasbro. I'm not saying I'm the same as them, but there are similarities in development, and it's kind of interesting seeing that happen, and it's kind of changing my perspective a little bit. But I still need to be very critical when I do my toy reviews, right? Like, so just because I do feel more sympathy for all toy makers, not just Marvel, not just Dwight and the Marvel team, but like all action figure manufacturers, I have a much grander respect for all of them now. So, but then there's the toy review side. I have to put that away. And I did a review on this. I was critical of my own thing, so I'm trying to be critical all the way through and maintain all of that while still holding on to this new knowledge.
So, typically when we have somebody on the podcast, one of the last things that we do is we have a special question that we reserve for our guests. So in this kind of short interview here, we're gonna spring our typical final question on you. So Dave, would you like to fulfill your role as this podcast's James Lipton and ask our final question?
Why, yes, I would. So, Russ, what is your favorite or strangest piece in your collection? It can be one of each, or it can be both.
Favorite or strangest piece? Oh, God. I will say, like right now, like my two favorite figures in my collection, I know you said one, but it
could be two.
The HasLab Galactus and the HasLab Unicron, like those two, like whenever I go into my garage, I stare at the Unicron. Whenever I go into my dork room, I stare at the Galactus. So because I have two collection sections, yeah, it's each of those two are my favorite right now. I have a whole bunch of other favorite figures though, but the real answer is the prototype. The Street Humans prototype is the favorite, right? That's the number one favorite one. It's actually the figure I've been playing around with the most, like, recently. And then the strangest figure in my collection. Shoot, I kind of have to think about that. The strangest figure that I have in my collection? I don't have a lot of weird, strange stuff, man. God, yeah, I don't have a lot of... I guess it's... No. I was going to say, like, my Universal Monsters, but that's not even really that weird, right? There may have been something else I can't think of, but, I think... what's kind of strange and weird is my Mezco Nosferatu. Okay, I'm going to say that. I love my Mezco Nosferatu figure, and I find it really weird because it's creepy and it has like the effect that Nosferatu has, but it doesn't look like him. Like it does look like him, but it doesn't. Like they took liberties with the design. And that one weirds me out because I love that figure so much, but it's still very different from the source material, but it also delivers the way it should. So it's kind of a trippy figure. It's like you don't look right, but you're doing all the right things. So yeah, I'll say my Mezco Nosferatu is kind of my strangest figure.
So that's the one out of all of them. You don't want that one to wake up in the middle of the night and come to life.
It's not my creepiest one. No, my creepiest one is another Mezco one is that the Nun Living Dead doll.
Yeah.
I love that thing. And then I had to turn her around in my office because my daughters freak out whenever they see her. But I love that thing because it's like the face, just those eyes and the muck around the eyes and everything. It's awesome.
Thank you, Russ, so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, Eric, David, thank you.
Thank you, dear listener, for hanging out with us today. Subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen, and then tell your friends to do it. Thanks also to Joe Azzari, the golden voice behind our intro. Our music is Game Boy Horror by the Zombie Dandies. Find more about them both in our show notes.
Follow us on social media at AIC_podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Stop by and say hi, show us your toy hauls, and share your toy stories. Maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode.
Don't try this at home. Void where prohibited and some assembly required. Each sold separately, not a flying toy. Consult a physician if your toy run exceeds more than 4 hours.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer, Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.